Welcome to the Rock and Roll Marathon in Arizona, televised on the MCST News. The two runners in front of me are the 8-foot-tall, 355 pounds Kush Mehta. And the other contestant is Charles Baranski at 4'5" and 95 pounds. On your marks, get set, go! It looks like Charlie's in the lead. Oh, they're stopping for a water break. They are drinking a lot of water. Wow. And it looks like Charlie is the winner. Congratulations, Charlie. How does it feel to win the Rock and Roll Marathon?
I won something?
Charlie, you won the marathon.
I won a pony.
Charlie?
Get a homework pass, right?
911? There's a serious... Did you get...
Am I...
Good afternoon. My name is Jacob Rosenstein, here with your MCST News. Previously, we've seen Kush and Charlie, our marathon runners, died while running the marathon. Unfortunately, Kush and Charlie are only 2 out of the 10 that passed away during this week's marathons. Here's more information on why from Dr. Kush Mehta and scientist Charlie Baranski.
Thank you, Jacob. The specific 10 deaths during this week's marathons were caused by the hot temperatures during the marathons. The graph shown on the screen explains the temperatures that occurred during this week's marathons. As a result, the runners had drank excessive amounts of water, thinking that it would help them cool down their body. The huge drinking amounts of water had removed ions that were contained in the body. This caused the condition hyponatremia, which is less amounts of sodium in the blood, to the runners, which eventually caused their death.
Thank you, Dr. Kush. And are you telling me that this disease, hyponatremia, caused the runners' deaths?
Thank you, Jacob. That is an interesting question you asked. Hyponatremia is the disease that caused the runners' deaths, and in most cases, the symptoms of hyponatremia is vomiting, confusion, and after the confusion usually causes a coma, which leads to the runner's deaths.
Thanks for explaining that. Now for a more in-depth look at the problem, we turn it over to scientist Charlie Baranski, who specializes in these types of problems.
We must involve the subject of cellular transport. Now, before I get into cellular transport, we have a diagram here that explains the basics of it. Cell transport is the transferring of objects, proteins, and molecules in and out of the cell through the cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane is made up of 2 parts. There's phosphate heads and fatty acid tails, which makes it a phospholipid bilayer. The phosphate heads are hydrophilic, which means that they love water, while the fatty acid tails are hydrophobic, meaning that they hate water.
I understand that, but how does this relate to the runner's deaths?
Well, this relates to the runner's deaths because the cell membrane tries to keep the cell in equilibrium, which means that the concentration of substances on the inside and the outside of the cell are equal. In this case, there was a higher concentration of water outside the cell, meaning that lots of water was moving in, causing a hypotonic solution, and the cell got bigger and bigger and bigger until...
Go.
Since there was little or no sodium left in the blood cells, kaput! Down go the cell functions and the body shuts down. This condition, also known as hyponatremia, and is what caused these horrible tragedies.
Go.
Let's see an example. I have here in my hand a glass of blue water, which will be simulating the sweat that leaves. Now I'm going to dump out half of the water, and as you can see, the color is much lighter, which simulates the amount of the sodium from the blood is decreased.
Go.
As you can see, this is a serious condition. However, some sports drinks, such as Gatorade, Powerade, can help with this condition by replacing the ions in the body that is lost through physical exertion. Another drink that runners can use while they are in the marathon is iced tea, which can replenish the ions that were lost. These drinks can provide a solution that will hopefully prevent the horrible tragedies like this one.
Thank you, Dr. Kush and scientist Charlie, for telling the viewers this wonderful explanation of the deaths of the last week's marathons. Next time, we will talk about stem cells and how they are affecting the healthcare profession. See you later, MCST.